Okay.
Ajinomoto.
Okay. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining our technical week presentation. And yes, by the way, you should need some time, so we can right now can start the presentation. And today it's Hasegawa's turn, so enjoy.
Okay, let me show you.
So, Nasir-san hit off, right?
VLAN.
Can you see my screen? Okay, so let me start. Today's topic is what is VLAN, what is VXLAN. I had a task in my job about setting up a L2 network using VXLAN. So let me share my experience. So first of all, today's topics VXLAN. VXLAN is about L2 and L3 layer. Data link layer and network layer. So first, what is VLAN? VLAN is one of the L2 switch function. It divides L2 network to network logically, like that, like this, and the merit is it reduces rate of traffic sending. So L2 network have to send up broadcast to all devices connected to switch. So if we using VLAN and divide the network, we reduce waste of traffic. We can reduce waste of traffic, and another merit, we can put switch device L2 switch to anywhere in the company building, another room, another floor. So if we put devices in another floor and so we divide network using VLAN engineering department and marketing departments. For example, using VLAN, we put first floor, another room, but network is divided one by one department, engineering department, marketing department, and so it's good for security. Then problem. VLAN supports only 4094 segments and should be connected physically by cable or some devices. So it's not good for so large company or a data center. So and this is our point. We'd like to VM live migration. VM live migration is migrating virtual machine to another host machine without any downtime. we'd like to VM live migration to sometimes another data center or another server rack. It's not connected by L2 switch, L2 network. Yeah, it's connected by L3 network but not L2 network. So we cannot use VM live migration using as long as using VLAN. So, but we can live migration using VXLAN. So what is VXLAN? VXLAN means virtual extensible local area network, and it's used L2 and L3 network, both network. And it has a lot of 16 million segments. It supports 16 million segments. So it can support a lot of network devices and big company, big data center. Using VXLAN, we switch and routers need to support the BTEP interface. It is needed to understand VXLAN protocol. And of course, we can use live migration in VXLAN. And also, we don't need to make some settings in each virtual machine. Just make settings to switch or routers. And yeah, it means L2 switch don't recognize VLAN or VXLAN. We just set up L3 switch or routers or setting of data center. And VXLAN have encapsulation function. The function make it possible VXLAN. So let me explain how VXLAN works. So this is some device, and my request send to first request to L2 switch, and next L2 switch to send request to L3 switch or routers. For now, it's the same as VLAN or ordinary network. In VXLAN, router or switch do encapsulation. It means encapsulation means encapsulation. It are the VXLAN network ID, VXLAN ID. It adds VXLAN ID and UDP and IP. Then encapsulation packets sent to another switch or router along with L3 network. Then destination switch or router in destination it decapsulation in decapsulate remove VXLAN ID or UDP and IP, then send to L2 switch and send to another device. So, this is a encapsulation protocol. Here is L2 network, L2 frame, original layer 2 frame. It is this only here it's the same as VLAN. In VXLAN, switch or router add VXLAN header and UDP header and IP header. L2 switch convert L2 frame to L3 frame by encapsulation. In VX header, there is a VXLAN ID. As a summary, VXLAN and the difference between VLAN and VXLAN. In VLAN, we cannot use live migration beyond L3 network, but using VXLAN, we can use live migration between one data center to another, for example. And for used ID is VLAN ID and VXLAN network identifier. And it's and VXLAN supports a lot of segments, and it can use logical network. But switch and routers need to support BTEP interface. It's need to understand the VXLAN protocol encapsulation. Yes, that's all. Thank you for listening. Do you have a question or comments?
Yes, thank you so much, Hasegawa-san. So regarding to VLAN or VXLAN, it is the structure of the network. So it is not the actual hardware, right? I mean, is it the hardware?
Sorry, hardware or?
Yeah.
VXLAN is a kind of function technique.
Oh, I see. I see.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. One data center we use have a service of VXLAN, but some data center don't provide a VXLAN service.
Thank you so much. I understand.
Thank you.
So
Yes.
just one question.
Yes.
As you said, the VLAN, it need to require VTEP, right? And
Yes.
if you want to migrate the VM from, for example, we want to migrate the VM from VLAN 01 to VLAN 02. And do we need to do any operation on vCenter or something?
For using VXLAN?
Yes.
Yeah, as I know, we don't need additional setting in vCenter. Just firewall or something. Yes, we don't need to make some change in vCenter, and we have to change data center setting, switches setting or router setting. We don't care EXXI server or virtual machine setting using VXLAN.
I see. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, and one question from me. I'm sorry, I couldn't join this presentation from the beginning. Thank you. Yes, VXLAN is really interesting technology for our field, in our field. So, and you said something about the live migration. So when we use the VXLAN, we can migrate. We can live migration virtual machine, and maybe no or very small downtime. I also want to know why it's not possible without VXLAN and why it's possible with VXLAN. If you have something detailed example, it's really helpful for our team.
Why? You mean why we can't do live migration using VLAN, but we can use it by VXLAN.
VXLAN, yes. Yeah, and as I understand, our project we use VXLAN in our project because some servers are not in the same VLAN. So some servers have different VLAN setting, or they are not in the same VLAN area. They are separated VLAN, separated L2 segment. They are communicating with always on the layer 3. But that the service support the VXLAN, we can enable the VXLAN, then they can, they can communicate with each other like in the same L2 segment. Then, if you can explain something example or why VXLAN can support virtual machine live migration from one to another. And they are, of course, in the different L2 network.
I can't remember what I read some Google yesterday.
Yeah, I see. And if I understand correct, so suppose we have two servers. One server have IP address 1000 something. Another server have 1001 something, and they are in the separated L2 segment. Then on the server A, we have a virtual machine. Of course, that virtual machine should be in the 1000 something network. If we live migration virtual machine to the server B should have server B should use the IP address 1001 something. Then virtual machine also should use that same IP address range, pick up the IP address from that range. If live migration is possible without the downtime, it means we don't need to change the virtual machine IP address. Even that virtual machine was from server A, IP address is very different from server B, but we don't need to change the virtual machine because they are in the same virtual L2 segment. The original IP address is also possible to use from server B. Server B can use the IP address of server A IP range. Server A can also use the IP address in the server B segment. So IP address range is not same, but we can think they are in the same L2 network, same VLAN. So we can say we extend the VLAN. If I understand correct, that's why we can live migrate without any network change from server A to server B, even they are in the different separated VLAN or L2 network.
So as you say, as you understand, VLAN one L2 using VXLAN, one L2 segment use another L2 segment's IP address. So we can use live migration without any downtime.
Yes, I think so.
I think so too. But I more research later.
Yes, I see. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, hello.
Hello.
I have one question. So I see your slide, VLAN 2 user work on L2 and VXLAN work in L3. So is that correct?
Sorry, one more again.
VLAN work on layer 2 and VXLAN work on layer 3. Is it correct?
Connect.
L3 network. L3 network.
Yes, network.
On the slide, I see L3
Yeah.
network.
Yes, it is. It is. It is. Yeah, it is to connect something like connect what the overlay. Overlay. It is three segments. And it is two segments and it is three segments.
As a segment, it means that it can configure IP address. So can VXLAN make a route protocol to another VLAN? That means the VLAN have one IP address, different rank, and another different rank, and it have the VXLAN to route this VLAN to know each other. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes, just I just my ideas that I see L3 network. So I think VXLAN or VXLAN work on layer 3. So VXLAN should have IP address, configure IP address on each VLAN, VXLAN, and it have routing protocol. It means that VLAN 1 in L3 can route to VLAN 2 in L3 network. It means that we can configure that every VLAN on this switch can communicate with each other in different IP range.
Using L3 network.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
I have one question. How do we implement VXLAN? This is software that we can configure on the switch router, or it comes with a device, with some specific device.
As I explained my experience, I request to data center to setting up VXLAN. Just request. We have to. What we have to do is just request, and sometimes we should make some change for our variable. Just request.
We need to configure on our VM too, related to our firewall.
Yes, I use the vCenter to change firewall settings. But we don't need to change IP or network setting. Just firewall and request to set up VXLAN to data center.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And just a comment about that topic. I also heard that there is interesting technology, VXLAN technology by software. Yeah, VMware support NSX technology. It can we can make something similar to VXLAN on the VMware. Then no network configuration change is needed. No network special equipment is needed. We can yeah, we can apply that change on VMware platform. Then, yeah, we can make separated, of course, separated VLAN, but we can do live migration from one to another, from one to another VLAN without any network change and IP address, without no IP address change, no gateway IP change. But that we need to buy very special VMware license. I guess it's really expensive. But anyway, it's yeah, also a really interesting technology. Just a comment. Thank you.
Thank you. If there is no more comments or question, yeah, please finish this presentation. Or let me. Sakai-san.
And I don't understand what is the segment about. Segment, is it the speed segment? Can you? Yeah, it's up next.
Segment.
Yeah, it's.
Oh. One segment. VLAN can support 4,000 segments. Segment means the number of IP or IP. It should be number of IP. But
Yes, thank you so much.
Number of connected devices.
Maybe number of requests per second.
Oh, so segment is the number of requests per second. So
Yeah,
so it means that it could support
per second. How many requests per second in the port or switch?
Oh, I see. So that is really huge, right? It's a 16 million, over 16 million. Like
24-bit, I think, because it switch layer 3, it use IP address.
Thank you.
Yeah, as I understand, the segment is not the request per second. Yeah, if we say L2 segment, it's a L2 network. One L2 network group is one segment. If we say L3 segment, then one L3 network group is one segment. So it means, yeah, VLAN support 4094 network group, L2 network, but we cannot make more VLAN, more network group. One group should be in the one subnet. I'm sorry if I'm wrong, but yes, we are back. And yeah, hello again. And I just wanted to say, segment is a group. So L2 segment is a L2 network group. L2, yeah, L2 network group. Yes, just like that.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much regarding two segment. Really interesting. Thank you. And the downtime is about like when the response cut out, it's called downtime.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, thank you so much. Really interesting and logically.
It's so complicated.
Okay, I have one more question. Regarding to this VXLAN is the same that they implement on a software-defined network in cloud like AWS.
AWS.
Because in AWS we can create a virtual switch, right?
Sorry, I don't understand.
Do you have some experience with AWS cloud? Have you deploy EC2 instance or? So when we create a group of EC2 instance, we create a virtual switch, right? I'm not sure, just to get some information about this technology.
Maybe Amazon uses this technology.
Yes, because based on our experience, when we want to migration VM in the same data center, we can do using the VM still have the same VLAN, and we can migration between ESXi. But when it move between data center, like because we have data center, maybe the same VLAN is not the same. The same, I mean the same VLAN names. Maybe it's not in the same VLAN network.
No, I think so too.
Yes.
Hello, Bernard. It's
Yes.
just my idea, but I don't remember VLAN because actually we have L2 and L3 in OSI. So L2 is a data link, so it works on switch, and L3 is an IP address. It works on IP address layer 3. So this technology is applied everywhere. Mostly if we use like a VXLAN like a moment, so it use switch layer 3. It means that it have VLAN and it also have IP address. So if it have IP address, so it have a routing protocol. It means that this VLAN 1 have another subnet. VLAN 2 have another subnet. Two VLAN have different subnet, but it can communicate with each other because of routing protocol. Like your instance in AWS like this, different IP address. So it connect to switch. It can connect to each other because it have routing protocol to this VLAN.
I think when it's routing, when it's use a different subnet, different VLAN network. If it's in the same VLAN, it can communicate directly.
Different VLAN also can communicate with each other if we configure the routing protocol, because it is not related to the server or virtual machine. It relates to switch in layer 2 and layer 3.
Yeah, I see.
VLAN layer 2 is like that. it broadcasts like it learn in every MAC address of the port of the VLAN, and it's stored in a MAC address. So if it go to VLAN 1, so it know every in VLAN 1. But as I remember, it have one protocol, it called VLAN, that it can set IP address and make a routing protocol to know each other of different subnet of VLAN. I'm not clear about it's like that. Is it answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the discussion. And I also want to join the discussion about the AWS. Yes, I actually don't know, but I guess they also use something like VXLAN because, yeah, actually we don't care anything about the physical machine in virtual AWS. Yes, and we only care about the virtual machine, virtual instance. So we make one instance on some machine, but we don't care the machine. And the virtual machine have IP address in specific IP segment. When we turn off the instance, turn on the instance again, that virtual machine can be in the same machine, but it can be also in the another machine. So it can move to another physical machine with more resource, CPU memory resource, enough CPU memory resource. So every time we power off the instance, power on the instance, that instance can move to another one. And it means most or all physical machine support any network segment, because this virtual machine have something 192.168.0.1 IP address. And once we turn off the instance, turn on the instance again, it's moved to other physical machine, but it also still support 192.168.0.1 IP address. So the source physical machine and the destination physical machine should support both that network. Then I guess VXLAN makes it possible, that feature. But yeah, the different point is we only care about the instance and we don't care anything about the physical machine. So we don't know. But I guess it's something like that.
Thank you for comment.
Thank you.
Just a guess.
Hello.
Hello.
I have lost
So noisy.
Intel VLAN and sorry.
I cannot hear you.
I cannot hear Nang too.
So noisy.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, hear me, guys?
Yeah,
Yes, hear you.
I can hear you. But your video is stopped.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, yes, it's fine now.
Here, right? Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, now it's fine.
You can turn off your
Okay.
monitor video.
It's okay, right?
No, it's okay.
Okay. So
Mm.
I just have one question about the VXLAN. Is it the same inter VLAN, right?
I'm sorry, interview.
Yes, inter VLAN.
Interview.
Yes. It's a, as I remember, but not 100% sure. Yes, inter VLAN. It's kind of protocol that make the two different network can communicate each other as yes, it's some kind of the different VLAN like we have in the company there we have the different departments, something like IT department, finance department, and account department, something like that. And inter VLAN, they use it if we want to communicate between VLAN 1, for example, VLAN 1 for the IT department, VLAN 2 for the finance department. Yes, actually different VLAN, so they cannot communicate each other. So department IT cannot communicate with the finance department because they are using different VLAN. In order to communicate, they use inter VLAN. When they make inter VLAN, so the VLAN 1 can communicate with the VLAN 2. Yes. So it's VLAN, the flow like that also, right? I'm not 100 understand yet.
Me too, but inter VLAN looks on Cisco switches function or something. VXLAN
I
is,
think it's not only the Cisco feature. Maybe it's like the general. Yes, it's the can be used with the general device. It's just the way how to do. Yes, it's the way how to do. Yes, but I'm not 100% sure about it. It's just the no, but not clear. Yes, yeah. Yes. If anyone know, you can just talk here. Yes.
Looks it's the similar technique, but looks it's different from VXLAN as I see.
Hello. Can I don't remember, but I can answer like you have two computers and one switch, so different VLAN. So these two VLAN cannot connect to each other. Is it right? You somehow in VLAN A and other in VLAN B. So this VLAN cannot connect to each other.
Yes, sure.
Yes, so to connect to each other, so we need one router to route to know this IP address can route to pass the router to connect to another VLAN. How to configure, I don't remember, but it's like that one switch. So need that one router to route So router can route to know multi VLAN in the switch. It's called a inter VLAN.
So mean we has the two computer client that using the two different VLAN connect to the single switch, and then the switch connect to the router, and in the router we have to make the routing protocol. We can choose one of the routing protocol and make the routing on the router to allow the VLAN communicate with each other. Is it right?
Yes, it's right. It has a router to communicate to another VLAN in different VLAN or different subnet. Not only one switch, a multi-switch is okay because we can configure build multi-switch to be one and create multi-VLAN. And we need one router to route which switch port of VLAN, where is the destination of the host IP address. So it can communicate with each other by the router.
Oh. So it means if the single switch, it seems like the same network rank. Unlike the multiple switch, we can the different the network rank, and then is it right?
Depend on network injector, we can configure in one office area or in one zone, we can configure multi IP address, multi subnet. So in different subnets, so we cannot ARP to each other. We cannot see ping to each other. So to ping to each other, we need to have one router to route to know where is the destination of the IP address, where is the host in which VLAN.
And so normally, if we have the two switch right now, if we have the two switch, one client, one switch, one client, and two switch have a different IP address and different subnet mask. Actually, it cannot communicate with each other. And if we want to communicate with each other, we have to the one of the router in the middle and make the routing on the routers. Yes. For the switch port, actually we use which type of like the trunk mode, or we use the access mode, something I don't know.
At this point, I don't remember, but in switch, in default is VLAN 1. So one switch you buy, default is VLAN 1. So another switch 2, default is VLAN 1. So you can configure two switch. So divide in 3 VLAN. So VLAN 1, VLAN 2, VLAN 3. It's like that. And the configure trunk or not, I don't remember, but we need one router to route to know VLAN, every VLAN in the switch. 2 switch, 3 switch. We can build together, and default is VLAN 1, VLAN 2, VLAN 3. But default VLAN 1. After that we divide VLAN 2, VLAN 3, VLAN 4, and so on.
Yes, I get some point. Yeah. Okay. And that's all from my side. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, hope I can set up this kind of technique on the switch. Yes, when we can have the switch, we can share this kind of knowledge. Yes, that's all from me. Yeah, is there any comment or feedback?
Nothing.
I have nothing more.
Nothing from it.
Yes, yes, thank you. And one more thing, so regarding to the hardware, router is more useful than switch in home use, because in some house they don't use a switch, but most of the house they have router hardware. So is my idea is correct? Router is more useful than switch, or is it depends on the using case?
Oh, so you ask me, right?
Yes, maybe I asked to Punlok. Yeah, you know more about network.
Switch in why it's router, because it can route. So it can route. Actually, it have router. It have 2 port, in out. So in out it have 2 ports. So switch, the function of switch, it make a ARP and learn the MAC address of every port in the switch. So when you plug your network to which port, so switch know what is this IP address on which MAC address. At first, switch learn every MAC address in every port of switch port, and after that, another host send
Data.
package, and yes, can send frame to your computer. So a switch know where is your host in which port, and a router, the function is route, to route.
I see, I see. Really interesting. Really great. Yeah. Yes, thank you so much for joining our technical week presentation. Yes, any feedback from Yoshida-san?
Nothing. Nothing for me.
Okay, thank you so much, everyone. Have a nice day.
Yes, have a nice
Yes.
day.
Thank you.
Bye bye.